Hello, it's Melinda from Alexis and Melinda's Art Space, coming today with another video. So this one is another inspirational mission. This is mission inspiration. I said that around the wrong way. Sorry. Mission inspiration. If you haven't heard of mission inspiration or watched any of my other videos, notice we've got a load of new subbies. Welcome. Hi. Mission inspiration is an 8-step recipe for art journaling with prompts. You don't have to follow them exactly, you can interpret them, has some suggested words and some suggested colours. I'll pop a link down below to the Facebook group, Mission Inspiration. It's fun, it's free, you do it, you don't have to post it anywhere, so it's fun like that. So this is Mission Inspiration December, so I'm a little behind. I got the journal page done in December, but the voiceover is taking me a bit longer. I find with doing my videos, I can get them filmed, I can get them edited, but then to do the voiceovers, it takes a while because I need a very quiet house. And Miss Alexis is around most of the time, and it's not quiet. And by the time it gets to her bedtime at night, I'm so exhausted I don't want to do it. So I'm catching up today. So Mission Inspiration 1, I've just written some notes down here from the prompts. So the first one is cover with pattern paper. So I found this wrapping paper. It's a red wrapping paper with gold glitter snowflakes on it. Been sitting around since last Christmas, so it's been sitting around for 12 months, and the glitter was getting everywhere and I was getting really sick of it, so I thought, right, I'll use one page of it in my journal and then I'll throw the rest of it out. So using this really dodgy glue that I'm glad to use up and throwing out. It was from Daiso, and it's like a liquid white PVA glue, and it was horrid. So I'm glad to see the back of that one. It was only cheap too. I think a pack of 2 cost me $2.80 when I was out and about and wanted some glue for doing some art journaling when we're on a holiday once. So don't recommend that glue. So just trimming up the edges here. I'm hoping that the page will work in the way that I'm hoping it'll work, if that makes sense. So I found that glue to be, I think I ended up throwing it out because it was just nasty. So the next step was, second step was thin wash, I obviously can't spell, with white paint or gesso. So my idea of using the red, that's not where I wanted to go at all with the page, but the idea was hopefully the glittered snowflakes would show through the white gesso, as in texture, not colour. You can still see a little bit of red, but it's quite muted. So using Liquitex gesso, it's my favourite gesso. I picked that one up on discount at Spotlight. It's the only reason I have Liquitex products is they're either on discount or on cheap, on special. Otherwise they're too expensive for me. It's a nice thin gesso. The other one I've got, which is a Montmartre gesso, which is a lot more affordable and made in Australia, but it's a lot thicker. So just taking a baby wipe, or it might be a piece of paper towel, and just rubbing some of it back to expose the snowflakes, and you can sort of see them. I end up covering up most of the page anyway, but hey, that's what we do when we start an art journal page. Didn't really know where I was going with this one. I do that with a lot of art journal pages. I'm not sure where I'm going, and with the mission inspirations you can sort of start throwing stuff on the page and then see where the page takes you. So just giving that a good dry. The important thing with mixed media and art journaling is to dry things between the layers. So grab some stamp sets and grab some snowflakes. So this first set I'm ripping apart now is actually from the reject shop that I managed to pick up. That was last year and this year's collection. So I wanted the snowflake border in the bottom, and I also grabbed a bigger snowflake out of that large set you saw, which was from come with a magazine. I say it's a free set with a magazine, but seriously, you pay $20 for the magazine, you're paying for the stamps. So using my archival link, because I do want to do mixed media over the top, just scattered some of the bigger snowflakes, and tearing off that stamp taking a stamp off the first time is always interesting. Especially this one, because it was a background stamp and I didn't actually want to tear it, so it took a lot of manoeuvring to get it off the acetate sheet. They never go back as stuck. So not using an acrylic block with this one because I didn't want the exact design on my page. I just wanted some of the snowflakes. So just holding the stamp without, I don't have an acrylic block, do I? I'm looking closer. No, I don't. It's funny when I edit videos, I have about a quarter of the laptop size to see what I'm doing, and with my low vision, it's sometimes difficult to see up close. And I should have cut out all my crap on the left-hand side, my aircon remote and all my other stuff that's on my desk. So giving that ink a bit of a time to dry. Then we move on to, so that was step 3, stamp texture images. Step 4 was paint colour with fingers. So I did a journal page, I think it was a mission as well last year, or might have been a pick a stick, with painting with my fingers, and I so much enjoyed it. So I was glad when this prompt come up again. So I grabbed my Delusions paints, yellow, darker green, and a lighter green. I know one's Squeeze Lemonade, don't know what the other names are, but these are from her original set. I haven't got any of her second or third releases. I would love some, but I've got that much paint, seriously, I've got that much paint to use up, which is cheap sort of like artist acrylic paint. I can't justify buying more paints. So I'm hoping when I run out of certain colours, I can go and buy some more. So enjoying painting, so I decided to do a group of 3 trees, because hey, they're easy to finger paint. So trying to get some shading on the trees as well, so you can differentiate. Gee, I'm getting big words today. So the trees will stand out from each other, so it's looking like a row of trees. So having fun, just pulling from the lid. Delusions paints goes so far, you hardly need anything. I do like the idea of the tubs, but the only problem is when you get only a little bit of paint left, they tend to dry out. My blue one has I only had a small amount left in it, and it has dried out. I'm going to see if I can resurrect it. And my bubblegum pink was a mess from the start, and it was one of the ones that had problems, and it's dried out, and I don't even know where that went. So I do like the idea of the tubs because you don't waste the paint, like you're not squeezing it out of the tube. So it is a good concept, but I just wish they'd be a bit more airtight. Maybe if I put a piece of cling wrap or something over the paint and then put the lid on, it might work. So just drying that off as well, because it was a bit thick, it took a little bit longer to dry. Actually, I might look for some airtight containers, like small containers in like a pallet or something that I can squeeze paint into, because I do like using them from the jars, because you can just grab a little bit, and sometimes I squeeze out paint and I squeeze out way too much. Maybe some Tupperware containers or something might be small enough. We'll have to have a looky-see around and see what I can find, and put like my most popular used colours in those or something. Moving on, we've dried that off. Okay, step 5 is 1 or more seasonal image. So at this stage, I'm umming and ahhing what I'm going to do. I have no idea. What am I doing at the moment? Obviously doing something. Maybe I've run off to get something. No, I decided to dry the page some more. I usually watch this fully way through when I edit it, and I must have not been watching too closely. I'm loving art journaling at the moment. It's so freeing just to be able to open up your journal and basically play and go back to those roots of being a child. It is so much fun. Okay, here we are. So I decided that Christmas image, I want to do a bit of drawing. So I decided to grab my sketchbook there, and it's in pencil, so it's a bit hard to see, but you'll see it when I draw it. Alexis and I, on our January holidays, decided to we can now put YouTube up on the telly, on the TV. Telly sounding very Australian. So we put YouTube up on the television, and it's called Art for Kids Hub, or Art for Kids Hub or something. It's this guy that does a lot of cartoon drawing, and he goes through the drawing step by step and says, like, draw a half circle, connect this line, connect that line. So often Alexis and I will sit there and do the drawing. So I did that in my sketchbook a few days ago, and then I decided to grab that and use that as inspiration. I much prefer the one in my sketchbook because it is a little more nicer. This one looks a bit sort of angry with a crooked smile. I was not happy with his eyes, and I could not get his eyes right at all. So I was drawing with my green pit brush pen, because it is permanent. I knew I was going to outline him with that eventually, so I just started drawing with that. I'm not one that usually draws in pencil first. This particular drawing I was referencing from is in pencil because my daughter insisted I drew with pencil with her. Just because she can. Usually I like to draw straight in pen. The reason I like to draw straight in pen is I have to think and be a bit more deliberate with my lines. If I draw in pencil, I have the ability to rub it out and start again, or erase it and start again. But with the marker, it's permanent and I have to be more deliberate with my lines, and that's just better for me. I prefer to do that. And I've got a few of those on my channel too, drawing and flipping through my sketchbooks of just plain pen drawings. So because my Delusions paints are on my desk still, I decided to use them for the Grinch as well. So the white, I put gesso on, his white hat and his white, I suppose, neck, that might be his beard. I don't know what that turned out to be. It's a very short beard because then I put his neck below. I'm looking at the page. I've got the page next to me while I'm doing this voiceover. I find that really handy because instead of referencing the picture on the screen, I can look at my full page layout. So just going ahead and filling in all the Grinch, trying to do a bit of shading. That's one of my things I want to work on this year, is work on my shading ability within a picture. I know the basic concepts, but I just suck at it. I studied art at school right up and did up to 6 months at university. So I did art all through, well, you do it all through primary school, all through secondary school, and when it became an elective, I elected to do it, and then I did 6 months at university as well. So I do understand the concepts of drawing and shading and all that, but putting them into practice after that many years, after about 20 years of learning, I'm a bit rusty. But hey, I had fun. I love how he's turned out, except for his eyes. I just could not get them right. But it's fun just to sit here and paint. For some reason this relaxes me, sitting here and painting, but if you swap the paintbrush out for a pencil, I'll go nuts. Seriously, me sitting there and colouring, colouring someone else's image is worse. I like to colour mine. I'm really weird that way. I like to colour my images. So there is neck. I should have continued the white right down. It would have been a good beard. So he must have chopped his beard off, being the Grinch. But I thought the Grinch was a good subject matter. So just finishing up, doing a bit of the painting, layering the dark colours in the shadows and the highlight colours. It's been really hot here lately. I'm voiceovering this in about the 3rd week of January, and it's been super hot the last couple of days, and I'm very sleep deprived. But I've got half an hour spare, so I thought what a good idea is to get a voiceover done. So just adding some whites to his eyes because I wanted to whiten up the whites of his eyes with the gesso. And I really wanted to make his ruffle in his hat and his, I suppose, beard quite white and quite stark. Even though there is gesso in the back of this page, it's muted out with the red. It's a bit hard to see in the shadowy. And I do apologise for the shaking. A new table workspace is on my to-do list for this year, but it'll probably be the last quarter of the year. I've got quite a few other projects and things on the go. And I do apologise for that shadow. I think that is the cord for my laptop. So I hope everyone had a lovely Christmas. Alexis and I had a beautiful Christmas. We got loads of goodies and been having fun in our summer holidays. Our summer holidays are nearly coming to an end in Australia. I think the kids have about 9 days before they return to school, or 8 days, depending on, some schools return earlier. So Alexis is excited. She goes into grade 5 this year, so that's always exciting. It's sort of like it's the second last year of primary school here in Australia before they move from a school they've been at for 7 years, if you haven't moved house in those 7 years, to like high school. So high school and primary school, there's such a big gap between the way the schools are run, what you sort of do and that, so it's quite a big shock between high school and primary school. So This is her sort of last year. Grade 5 is sort of the year before you have to get serious into high school, into grade 6 and then on to high school. And this year we also have to look at schools and decide where she is going. There's quite a few options in Bendigo. So we'll be doing that as well. So trying to fix up the highlights and have the shadows and highlights all working from one light source. So completely dried that off, and now I go back in and put the detail back in with this artist pick pen. This green one's the only one I own. I did get in a class kit. Quite a few years ago I signed up to a class kit, and every 6 weeks you got sent a box of new supplies to try with an art journal page and picture instructions and instructions to complete it, and it was a great way. I'd love to get some more artist pick pens. They're on my want list, but I'm just trying to use what I've got the last couple of years, and I've got a lot of pens and markers and trying to use those up before. The great thing about the pick pens is they are an India ink, so it's a permanent ink, and because this is paint, Illusions paint, when you scribble on the paint, you've got a couple of seconds to then smudge it and make a shadow before you get a permanent line. So that's one advantage of the pick pens, and plus it dries permanent and it won't reactivate with water. That's why I like them in the mixed media. Maybe Santa Claus can bring me something at the end of 2018. Maybe the Grinch stole them. So just trying to add that with the green shadowing. And I've obviously leaned across to get something again. Oh, I've got some black markers to just make the blacks a bit blacker. Even though I painted them, I just wanted to fix up the fine lines and the edges. So I go and decide I want to give them an eyeball, and I just don't like it, so I go and stick a couple of layers of gesso back over the top. I don't end up giving him an eyeball. I couldn't get it to sit right, so I just left it. He looks a bit cross-eyed at the moment, but then he's got a nice smile, so I don't know. Maybe he's being really grinchy and deciding he's not doing it. Just trying to get one of those pens to work. I can't exactly see what pen it is, but I'm having a lot of trouble with my pens at the moment. I'm way too impatient to let my paint dry, and I tend to stuff up the pens. And a lot of the pens aren't probably made to draw over paint and Mod Podge and glue and things like that that I use. It's actually a white thin Posca paint pen I'm trying to tassel with now and go and throw it on the bench in disgust because it's all dried up and doesn't want to work. I find the Posca paint pens are great, but you leave them for a couple of months and don't use them and they tend to get dry. Okay, we're back again. Okay, next was number 6, and gold bling. So you can paint, flake or glitter. I write notes down from the wording, so I'm quite lazy and sometimes I then interpret it wrong. So gold bling, I decided gold bling. So why am I painting silver on his hat? Ah, I decided I wanted to go back and add some silver to the Grinch. So I'm still working on my focal piece. I do apologise. So that's silver paint. I thought I was up to the gold glitter. So that's silver paint. So I just wanted to make his hat sort of snowy flourish, and I'd end up putting some on his beard as well. And I tried to do sort of roundy strokes, so it gave it an illusion of texture as well. So here, number 6. Let's get to number 6, gold bling. So this is some gold glitter glue or glitter paint that are in little bottles, and I really don't know where these come from. It could have been Alexis' stash. As we've been cleaning and sorting, we've been just grouping like things together, paints with paints, markers with markers, etc. And it's amazing what we find that we've sort of forgotten about. And I'm sure that's everyone. If you go delving in deep into boxes you haven't seen for a couple of years, it's amazing what you pull out. So just adding it quite thick, and I did have to leave this overnight to dry because I wanted loads of glitter, and this glitter glue, if you spread it out, actually painted with it, you would sort of pick up the glitter and paint it off. So I was more dabbing to get that on. So I do like my glitter in my glitter trees, and I put some big blobs at the top as well. Oh, sorry about that black bit there. I must have buttered the movies up together. Okay, so, wow, that's a long quote. So, what appeared quickly and disappeared quickly, and sitting on the left there is a Dymo label writer. So I decided to type my quote out in that. After seeing Mike Deacon use his, I pulled mine out of my box and decided to use it. So I went on my phone and got a Grinch quote that says, "Maybe Christmas doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more." I just love that. I think everyone's losing the definition of Christmas. It's getting very commercialized and very... Everyone has to have huge presents on Christmas, and I'm not bringing Alexis up like that. So we sometimes do... This year, for example, because she's 10, she's a bit older now. For her birthday's in December, mine's in November, and both of these at Christmas, so I bought a sewing machine to take up 90% of the money that we'd spend on those 4 events for a sewing machine, and we actually got it in October, so we opened it a bit early. We're not very good at waiting. And then she only got a few little things. And I include things under the tree like socks and underwear and pajamas and shoes and stationery and all that stuff she sort of needs. That comes with Christmas as well. So she didn't get much else for her Christmas and birthday. She just got a few tidbits. But I tend to collect them throughout the year. I call it Melinda's secret stash. And Alexis finds it some days, and then that's a disaster. So even though the Dymo labels are stickers, I usually put, or I do put, I've got that black flash again, sorry. I do put Mod Podge underneath and on top of the stickers, just to make sure they're sticking down, because they are sticking over paint and glitter and Mod Podge and everything else. I find if I don't Mod Podge them down, the stickers do not last on the page. So just deciding number 8 was a border. So I've just grabbed the Pick pen again and just done a subtle green border around the edge, just smudging it. And I decided to border the stickers and smudged a couple, so smudged over the top of all the stickers. So we're just about done now. Oh, I'm just putting a bit more shadow on the trees. I just wanted them to not look like 3 trees. I wanted them to look like individual trees. So trying to put a bit of dark on the edge to make them come out, and then I decided to add a bit more shadowing to my Grinch, because you can't have enough shadows and bits on him. I could basically fiddle all day. You can see the shine of his beard and his top of his hat when I flip the page. What else have we got on to now? I think I'm just about done. Yes, so the page is done now. I will pick it up in a minute, and I've slowed this part. Oh my god, words! Slowed this part of the video down. I'm reaching for it very slowly, so you can see it a bit more detail. This looks funny now that I've done it. So my 2 pieces of separating paper so I don't leak onto other pages. Don't leak. Oh my god. Don't spill paint onto other pages in my book. Maybe this is not a good idea. This looks very funny slowed down. Because usually I bring it up to the camera and then I have it still sped up and it's hard to see. So just bring it up to the camera so you can see a bit more of the detail. And I do have a few still photos at the end as well. Because I know sometimes it is difficult to see detail, and my lighting sucks at the moment. If I bring it up too close, I get shadows. So you can actually see some of the texture from the wrapping paper in the background, which I'm happy about. And there's my Grinch. He's got a funny look on his face. Thank you for watching. I know this has been one of my, or not so lengthy, but quite lengthy videos. This did take me probably I'm just looking at the time. It's about 22 minutes, probably 3 times out, about an hour. Probably about an hour and a half with drying times and all that sort of stuff. Probably an hour and a half of actually making the page, taking out the drying times and such. So it does take me quite a while to sit down and do these pages. An hour may seem not long to some people or long to others. I don't know. How long does it take you to sit there and do a journal page? It'll be interesting to find out. Sorry about the bipping. I was going to move something on the laptop and it won't let me while I'm doing a voiceover. So a big thank you for watching if you stayed this far. A few close-ups here just showing a bit of the texture and the details. And I'll catch you again soon. Have a nice day.